Parramatta and West game from last week. This game was a bit of a disappointment to me because I thought really West would put up a better show than they did. It wasn't to be. It was the very methodical Parramatta machine constantly probing, constantly getting the ball in the clear. And the big thing that I've got to wrap this Parramatta about all the time is their ability to keep the ball alive. Alan, any comment on that?
Yes, I agree with you. I think they're a magnificent team, and it's going to take a great team, I think, to beat them in the premiership. But that man there, he's back to. I think he really had a flat spot for a while, and
well, that's understandable because of the heavy representative.
That's right, and I think that Gibson has done the right thing this weekend. They've trained twice this weekend, and he doesn't want to see. Last Thursday was the last time they trained, and they're back again next Tuesday. Well, they've had the whole weekend off. They'll come back nice and fresh for North Sydney next Sunday. You've got them on Sunday.
Yeah, we're doing it on Sunday. Yeah. It'll be the Parramatta North's game from North Sydney.
But the man you gave the award to, Paul Taylor, he's an incredible footballer. You know, what is he, 10.5 stone, I suppose?
Under 11 stone, he said.
He's played second row, he's played full back and half all with distinction.
And
well, that phrase that Jack uses, the triples, he made 7 triple tackles during the match.
3 triple, in succession. It's quite extraordinary, his work rate.
Graham, very heavy representative player. Graham, when you play for Australia, you play for New South Wales and all these representative games, and you're built up for the game to win them, and which you successfully do, you must, when you go back to a club football, a heavy program, you must feel let down.
You do to a certain extent, Ferris, but the coach is thinking all the time now. They sort of break your training down, try and get you as fresh as possible.
Yeah. But it is a heavy program.
I just wonder what Jack Gibson's going to do with his team for next week.
Well, he's selected 14 players, and he says that Sterling and Taylor will play.
Yeah.
He's quoted as saying that. This fella, Ella, is a real box of goods, isn't he?
Oh,
he's got everything.
He's got everything.
I still come back to that remark that Mark Ella, the present Australian Rugby Union captain, made on this show, or not on the show, in the studio, when I was talking to him, and I said, what sort of footballer do you think this Steve Ella is? And he said he's the best of the lot of us. And that's Mark Ella talking, the Australian Rugby Union captain. He said the best of the lot of us. And on the other part of the conversation, I said, well, what's the future for the Ellas? He said, well, there's millions more of them running around out there. And he said, they come out of the ground. So that was an interesting comment. Let's have a look at a few highlights on this game. Growth's busted into the clear here, and the pass was judged forward at that point with him right through. And if there's a more, and I use the term advisedly, beautiful sight than Eric Growth in full flight. He's a magnificent player, Barry.
There's no doubt about that. And doesn't he score some tries? And recently just doing that sort of thing too, coming off the set plays and busting them.
He's had a little few problems earlier when he was watching the clouds go by and wasn't in position, and he got dropped down to 3rd grade for it.
Well, that happened in the first game of the year, against Canterbury. He wasn't in position for a try.
That's right.
That happens to footballers at different stages. And we're talking about footwork. How would you like to be standing in front of this bloke when he's doing this sort of thing? Watch this, Kenny. Left, right, left, trips, still going, left and right. He'd be a horror for a fullback if he had a bit of side space, wouldn't it?
Oh, definitely, Rex. It was just like a few years ago with Larry Corrigan running at you.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been very pleasant.
You'd always dive.
I had
I remember in the KB Cup match, you didn't have too many problems with Mr. Kenny. You took him head on there and half killed him.
Oh, he used to half kill a few players.
I don't think he tried to step then, Alan.
No.
One of the things that pleased me about Graham's game against Balmain last week was his defence. He finished with a player. They scored the 4 tries, but he finished with a player on each occasion. Somebody was on the ground. I asked Ron Hilditch about the amount of treatment he's given his injury, because Ron Hilditch came back in 3rd grade last week quite well. Barry and I both saw him go around, and he went very well, which is important news. Anyway, here's his response to the question about the treatment.
Yeah, I'm pretty sick of giving it the treatment. All I want to do is get out there and play and run now, but it's paid dividends, I'm sure of that.
So for Parramatta and Australian Rugby League, we can say that you're on the way back.
Well, I hope so, yes.
The next problem is getting back in the team, of course, isn't it?
That's been a problem all along, yeah.
Anyway, good luck to you. I was very interested to find out how you went.
Thanks very much.
Good luck, Ron. The same day, I asked Johnny Muggleton about his problem handling the bomb. You recollect there was 1 try scored off 1 error of his. This is what he had to say.
I had to run a long way to get to it.
You did.
And I sort of took a sigh of relief when I finally got there, and I think it went through my arms. I just didn't get the message to close the arms on it. So I tried to get to it after that and knock it over the dead ball line, but he was here before.
Well, John, you're a very good thing for the Australian side later in the year. You started off as a centre. You played on the wing occasionally, you told me. You went to lock. Now you're the Australian second row and you're back to fullback. Where else is there?
Well, the only place I don't want to play is front row or hooker, so I'll play anywhere else except there.
Okay, good luck to you.
Thanks, Rich.
And I asked the perennial favourite, the Bear, Bob O'Reilly, about his new lease of life and his horse. He had just some disappointing news because he has burst another blood vessel in his leg, but I think that's just because of his geriatric age. Anyway, let's have a listen to the Bear.
Mate, I'm still on the wars. I burst a blood vessel in my other leg, so I've got a couple of weeks luckily to get over that. So hopefully in the next 2 weeks I should be all fixed up and ready to try and regain a first-grade spot if it's all possible.
Is it probably age that might be doing all this damage?
It's getting close, mate, I think.
Is there any chance you might take up riding track work on your horse?
Well, it's got legs like mine, I think. Every time I see it, it's encased in cement or something. I don't know. They don't let it run around too much after it has a race, so I don't think I'm putting my weight on it to do it any good, no.
You will let us know when it's out again, though, won't you? Not like the first time.
No, next Wednesday, mate. Next Wednesday at Rose Hill. Bit each way.
A bit each way. It didn't run a race, I don't think. Anyway, I asked Ray Price after the game about his career as a full-time footballer. This is what he had to say.
Well, I do work for the Sun. I go around to schools. I do about 2 or 3 schools a week and go and help out the young kids and just things like that.
And you've just re-signed a contract with Parramatta for how many more years?
3 more years.
So that'll take you out, do you think, or will you go on with the coaching soon?
Well, you know, I think if I could play the next 3 years under the same scheme as I've played this year, I think I could get easily another 5 years because there's no pressures whatsoever. You know, the pressure on you from the working and worrying about paying your bills is not there for this year. You know, I can
you mean
easily
opposition teams might have to look forward to another 8 years of Ray Price going around?
Oh, it'd be nice, but I'll retire when I think I've had enough.
Yeah. Well, that'll be a comfort to all the other forwards around Sydney, I reckon.
I think he's the best footballer in Australia.
He's a complete all-round footballer.
I asked Jack Gibson, the Eels coach, about Chris Phelan and Paul Taylor, and this was Jack's response.
Well, I don't know. I can't understand why he gets that people don't think he's a great fullback as well as a great halfback. You know, I'm happy with him. His mistake rate's very low, and if he'll get him one out, he does his work. He's as tough as they come, and he's a good ball handler, and he can run a try in for you.
Well, you're the only one he's got to please after all, so we're only asking the questions.
I'm second. He's first.
A few other players just to have a query about Phelan. Seems to be unloading the ball a bit more now than he used to. Is that under sort of instructional orders?
No, it's not under at all. He's got to feel his way. He never started to play till he's 12 or 13, Chris, and we think this time next year he'll be an excellent player.
Yeah.
He's very durable and tough as they come,
strong.
and no penalty rate, very, you know, does his assignment, works right through. We're pretty happy with Chris, but as far as unloading the ball is concerned, he come down here with not the education the other players have had over the years.
Starting behind the 8 ball a bit.
I think so.
Okay, well, that was Jack Gibson talking. That was the Parramatta 24, West 7 result. We'll take a break now and come back with some more rugby league action.